Hello, everyone. My name is Peng. I'm from China. Pronounce she, her, they. I'm teaching in the city of Lakes Ward of School. It's an urban school located in Minneapolis, originally the land of Dakota and Ojibwe people. I'm here to represent a session about teaching anti-racism, Muertos, and Monarch. During this session, my coworker Melissa McPartland will share a circle that she designed. Hopefully, after this session, you can have something to think about how to design your own circle, and also finding some connections and resources about how to start your native plants garden, and how to consciously choose festivals to celebrate. And there are some local resources that I gathered. Some also can be shared nationally. Okay, so first I want to talk about the group I worked with, those children. At my school, the program I'm teaching is a mixed age kindergarten. It's 4 to 6 years old children. And when I try to represent something to them, I would always ask myself, what is the best way children learn? I mean, best way? What they learn naturally. What's the way they learn naturally? They touch, they smell, they taste, and they have to roll, run, crawl, jump. They learn by doing. There's so much living in their limbs rather than sitting in the squares. So the circle really combined with language and movement is providing a more holistic experience for them to experience this outside world. It's one of the tools we use in a Waldorf program. And I was consciously trying to stay away with the too much of academic vocabulary and those dry facts. It doesn't mean they're not important. I just wonder if that's necessary all bring in this age. Can they still understand the world without those vocabulary? And instead, I am more lean towards choosing stories to enrich their feelings and bring something to them, let them just experience and just be with and be together, and give something for them to observe by themselves. With those being said, I would like to introduce a circle my coworker Melissa McPartland made and edited by Louise, our another coworker, who is a naturalist, and teacher Carlos, who is our coworker and from Mexico, who added a clapping game in there. And later on, during the resource box, I can share how he added a different tone for the clapping game. After sharing the circle, I will talk about a few design elements.
crunching, crunching, crunching. Whirling, and the wind will blow. Raking, raking, raking. We make a big loop, and we jump into the pile. Wait. I jumped back. Breaks again. Raking, raking, raking. Make a big leaf, and we jump into the pile with a great big leap. High up into the tree. Great eyes look back at me, and I wonder, what could that be? Gray squirrel, fish up bushy tail. Let's get those tails going. Gray squirrel, fish up bushy tail. Squirrel makes a pile of leaves in between the branches deep. Inside he curls into a ball. When winter snowflakes start to fall. My front paws. Hopping, hopping, hopping. Gray squirrel moves along the ground. Digging, digging, digging. He hides the nuts he's found. A little squirrel remembers his snacks for wintertime. And the nuts that he forgets. Oak tree find. I look up into a tree. Bright eyes look back at me. I wonder, what else could that be? At the top of an old pine tree, a little red squirrel is scolding me. Nibbles on pine cone seeds so fair. Lets some drift into the air. Down to the ground. They softly skim to wait till springtime comes again. Now squirrels, they don't mind snow and ice. But what about the butterfly? The butterfly? The butterfly. Now the monarchs, they know just where to go. They're going to fly all the way to Mexico. Now our monarch friends will have to be brave and strong to get to a place in Mexico called Michoacan. Because that journey is not one, not two, but 3,000 miles long. See your wings, butterfly. Fly, butterfly, now fly away to the blue. the blind. You are such a light. Now fly away to the blind. And if our mariposa have good luck for buena suerte, they'll get to Mexico just in time for Dia de los Muertos. Now, friends, you might remember my good friend Teacher Carlos.
Yes.
He grew up in Mexico, so he loves to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. When he was a child in Mexico, he learned a rhyme that he taught to me. So we can do it even without Teacher Carlos. It goes like this. You can do the, if you're crisscross, you can do it with me. Está la mariposa sentada en la cocina, haciendo chocolate para la madrina. Que salga la rosa, que salga la clara, que salga la niña que está haciendo la. If you speak Spanish, you might know that this is a silly rhyme about a butterfly making hot chocolate in the kitchen. Let us do it one more time and we'll see if you can hear about the mariposa, the butterfly, in the cocina, kitchen, making chocolate. At the end, you might hear about the niña, the girl, who's making pastel, a cake. See if you can listen to those words. Está la mariposa sentada en la cocina, haciendo chocolate para la madrina. Que salga la rosa, que salga la clara, que salga la niña que está haciendo la. Nice. And the mariposa, Monarchs, are sleeping in the trees. The children in Mexico look up to the sky. This is what they see. In Minnesota, we look up at those very same stars. And we have that same song in the version that's ours.
So that's the circle. A circle in Waldorf schools usually lasts 3 to 4 weeks. We'll just add on and repeat the same story. The circle usually is echoing what happened in the outside world, which during the time of Dear the Muertos is more in Minnesota. It's about to begin, and there might be already a first snow. And also drawing the connection between children's life here in Minnesota to Mexico with the monarch butterfly flying from here to there. I really appreciate she's drawing these real connections for children. And also during those movements in the circle, there's consciously combining singing and rhythm and poems and polarity of movements like up and down and some hard and some soft and twirling and all this, the raking and meeting those middle lines. We have we're living in the 3D world. We have 3 middle lines to meet. One is right above, like up and down in the middle of the waist. One is right here to left and right. One is front and back. So we're looking for all the opportunities in the circle to either meet or cross the middle lines to help brain development, but in a more holistic experience, not really hoping children to do those in an unconscious way. So those are like their muscle memory rather than they have to tell themselves what to do. So she started with fun, something jumping in the leaves and squirrels, those things really, and those mischiefs happening in here, those human quality that's living in squirrels as an entry point that children can relate to. And then when they standing in their heels and tap their toes, they have to balance their whole body in a different way. And there are lots of up and downs and hopping. How can you do 2 feet together, 2 hands together, hopping and clapping? Clapping game, in my opinion, is almost like a lost ancient art that so much about the rhythm of the language and imitation and relationship between each other. And there's a piece of Spanish was in there that talk about the differences and similarities that for my anti-racism work, it's one thing we always talk about, the differences and the similarities, and see the complexity in between them. My school started anti-racism curriculum design since 2020. So at the beginning, we have to learn how to apologize to each other when we're making mistakes, because it's going to happen when we are learning something so new. But I see it as just like how you learn how to climb a tree or how to ride a bike. Those good struggles, you just cannot do it, and then you have to stay with the struggle and you sleep on it. The next day you try again, and the more you practice, the better you'll become. In terms of this content, when I'm trying to focus, I'm still learning about the terms either Latino or Hispanic community. How can I make it talking about it all year long rather than just they're only being shown one time of the year during Dia de Muertos time? So one thing I think can be a thread, can be a year-long project, is the butterfly garden. Another thing we are implementing in our food program is that each Wednesday we have a tortilla day. Children just have to, all who wants to will help to prepare the tortillas. But recently we have 4 staff in early childhood speak Spanish. Two of them are from Mexico, and teacher Cynthia was talking about, your tortilla has this grease from the pork? If not, then it's not called tortilla. I really appreciate that, but also realize we are choosing to do our vegan food for a reason. So I introduce what is real for Mexico, for teacher Cynthia, and like a real tortilla, but also knowing that's a choice we made to make tortilla just with vegetables, things like that. Okay, and then we also have Hispanic Heritage Month. So, and then in all those highlights, there are festivals. One thing Waldorf is kind of more good at is the storytelling perspective and celebrating festivals, those multiculturalism. We saw books published like 20 years ago in Waldorf education about all those celebrations we're doing all around the world. However, I'm trying to stay away a little bit those tokenism, just taking their food song stories and saying we done our work. But this year we are, as a group, really finding more resource to dig in for Dia de Muertos itself. From Minnesota Humanity Center, they're offering 2 classes this year. This one is online, so by the time this session is present, you can still register this online learning workshop to learn about this festival. How can I move this down? Okay, so what to celebrate? I waited between Halloween and Dia de Muertos. I mean, I learned from teacher Melissa about it. The reason I never been to Mexico, I haven't really had my whole experience how that look like yet. But that's my commitment. I will do that when it's possible. To just get one step closer for those children, take this as a part of their life. I think Halloween has a creativity to go around with children with costumes. At the same time, in the bigger world that's holding about Halloween, there are things more view death itself as something scary and something we should be afraid of, something we shouldn't be talk about. It's more fear-based. So I noticed there are lots of deaths happening in the nature world during this seasonal change. From all of a sudden it starts to snow. When we walk along the park and there's a squirrel all of a sudden drop on the ground and it's dead. And children, for sure, they're asking questions. They ask, what is death? And what is death? What kind of image the death itself is carrying? I see Dia de Muertos has this quality and the space to talk about that, to honor the death, to connect with our ancestors, which for myself, also think it's an anti-racism work. The more we're all connecting with our ancestors, so we're viewing this world more differently rather than just one way. And also that's how we know who we are and where we come from. And this joy come from this bright color and all this passion and come from this celebrating during death, festival death, and the transformation Monarch is carrying through this journey, migrating from north all the way to south and back again, those 4 generations of traveling. They have to die for so many times. It's something powerful for me to grab on. So how to celebrate? I went to local Mexican supermarket with my coworker who were originally from Mexico. So they gave me a little tour and showing what are the food, what are the bakery they used to use, the skeleton bread, and yeah, those something local. And then during this Humanity Center, this all local, learning from place, from Lake Street, which is now from where our school, my school, is located. Yeah, talking about multi-racism and multiculturalism, don't just talk about what's ideally what things should like, but make it local, draw it back to the community here. For children though, we have one day to do the celebration with make or gather a few marigold. It's hard to grow the same kind of flower here during that season, and then we make their own marigold flower, and then there's altar set up. Children each bring their own item from home to talk about one of their close family members who passed away and why those items are important for them, and the connection between those people who died with those children. And we light little candles and we think about those loved ones with some joy, with some grief, and I also last year I invited teacher Carlos to join me for the celebration date, and he talked about stories when he grew up and the games when he played in Mexico, and as a part of the enrichment. But I also try to not just use those community members as experts. They are not here to educate me how to do this. I still need to do my own work. Although I'm interested to hear those individual stories, and then it's more individualized. But when you hear many as a whole, then you see a communal experience. And art and expression is one way for children to build a connection again. We have monarch butterfly wings, and then you can just cut a piece of paper with the leaves and flowers during the season and make their own butterfly wings. And we put things together on the nature table, like a culture artifacts. And yes, talking about Monarch, in Minneapolis, there is a festival called Monarch Festival. Those two pictures are what my coworkers took during the festival celebration there. They are drawing the connection between monarch and milkweed more closely in this festival. I learned from teaching outdoors in Minnesota. There's 1 hour-ish session from monarch conservation group, talk about what we can do, like this quick how-to in the classroom. And I also took a class from Monarch Lava Monitoring Project. This is a link. It's about 10 hours training. The rest, just when you notice monarch in your environment, just notice that and see what children bring to you. And this Acorn Naturalist has lots of collection about monarch. For their picture books, I choose to see if they have a read aloud on YouTube first. If they do, then I think about my purpose. Is this more towards facts? Is it more towards story-based with feeling? So for that, I used a Monarch Play With Me as one of the books, and I wrote my own stories about monarchs. And this one, GIM or GBORG, is a one grassroots picture book making organization in Minnesota. All the picture books they have are leveled and they have leveled picture books with Ojibwe language. And from there, I found a book called Milkweed and Butterflies. Just come back to thinking about the land, drawing the connection for monarch cross cultures. Anything else? Oh, gardening. I am bad at growing milkweeds. I have tried 2 years by myself, not really making much success. This is a resource I found recently. I see it's one of my growing area I have to do to make it a whole experience, all year round experience with sensory enrichment for children. So this resource talk about the regions, about the milkweeds that's common in the area you are in. And then there are also resources about how to take care of milkweed when it's already growing. For me, after those tries, I wasn't able to grow milkweeds from a seed. I'll take care of them from a seed. But there's easier things to do, just get some native plants nursery. where they already cultivated those little small plants, and then you take care of them that way. That's what I did this year. If you only have a small space and you would like to attract butterflies, meadow blazing star is something you can try your luck. This nursery, particularly the Minnesota native landscapes, they have a big yard, like an hour away from Minneapolis. And by the end of August, they have an event. You observe how their butterflies transform and just launch themselves on the journey to Mexico. And there's Wild Ones. It's a national organization to education with native plants. Now I get really excited to invite someone to join me in my garden so they can see is something wrong with my soil or how I planted. So I can make adjustments and then design some more elements on my play yard for children to play, enjoy, and make it a path for the bees and the butterflies. They also have a seed for education grant. They can give you up to 500 for you to design a program for educational purpose. When I share something I know with more picture way, no matter it's a butterfly, a tree hanging a lot of butterfly in Michoacan, or the Mexican market I went to, all some story that Teacher Carlos, Teacher Cynthia told me about all different versions of Twinkle Twinkle Little Stars, different teachers singing together. I always make it more open-ended, saying there's so much more to wonder. This is what I know, but that is now it's about. I wish children to find about it by themselves. So I'm taking away my authority to present. I cannot be the expert to teach a culture that's not my own. But rather I kind of trying to guide them to make certain culture to be seen and the diversity of butterfly to be seen and the ecosystem in each plant to be seen. So all these ways of understanding, knowing things, we are breaking this wall of have to be controlled, have to look for one goal to be the best. We're normalizing all kinds of different ways of being. Then we're also hearing the stories that remember who we are. In this way, we are doing anti-racism work. So if you have questions and comments, please contact me through this email. Thank you for your time.